Here we go, boys. What up? How is everybody today?
What's up?
What's up, Tater? How are you? By the way, you guys looking on here? This is
Everything's
Catch This
good.
Brothers. Oh, go ahead, Tate. Sorry, I
Yes,
didn't let you
sir.
stop.
Now I said everything's good down here.
How's the temperature? Warm down there?
Too warm. As a matter of fact, the grandkids were over the other day and they're swimming in the swimming pool.
He lives in Florida, folks. Avery lives just south of Charlotte. I live. Hey, Avery. By the way, this is Avery Foster. This is my oldest son. Say hello.
What's up, Avery?
Hello.
We have him on as a guest today. There's a topic we're going to be talking about, and we want a perspective of the next generation, the generation that's useless and stupid.
Shut up. I'm not the next generation, technically. The next generation's your kids.
Well, when we go into this, it'll start to make sense what we're talking about. But before we go into that, this is Catch This Bros podcast. This is our third pod, and I hope everybody's enjoying it. We've had many people jump on, interested in enjoying it. Glad you guys are watching. Quick question, Tate. Yes, sir.
By the way, happy Valentine's Day to you guys. You guys
Oh, yeah,
look
it is.
beautiful to me.
Yep, it's Valentine's
That's why I'm
Day
wearing all
week.
this red, showing the
How did
love
you do that,
on
Avery?
Valentine's Day.
I don't know. I'm just throwing up
Avery
symbols and
got
things
crazy
happen.
stuff going on over there.
He's on his phone, and do the thing you did a minute
I
ago.
guess his phone just does stuff like that.
He does the sign of Satan, and look, Satan comes in the room.
Rock and roll.
There he is. I rebuked him.
No.
I rebuked
It's
him when
not.
he left.
There we go.
Uh-oh.
That is funny.
I don't know why it does that.
Behind me.
So, Tate, you ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Answer straight. You ready?
Yeah.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Little old lady.
Little old lady who?
Wow. I didn't know you could yodel.
Dude, that was a bad dad joke. That is bad. That's terrible.
We're going to be talking about music today, and so I looked a couple things up. Let me ask you guys a quick question. What musical genre are national anthems?
What musical genre is the national anthem?
Are all national anthems.
I don't know what genre that is. I figure it's
Country.
anthems.
That's another
Country.
bad. That's another bad dad joke.
Is what that is.
All right, last one, I
No,
promise.
that-
Sorry, I got excited. Last one. What happens when you
Go
play
ahead.
country music backwards? You guys remember backmasking? Tate, remember we were growing up, everything was backmasked.
Yeah, they used to do that because that's how they would, I guess, send messages on a
Yeah,
recording.
and let's keep our streak alive. We've talked about marijuana on 3 pods, or on 2. This is the 3rd. So, like, for instance, whenever you listen to Queen, Another One Bites the Dust.
Queen
When
had
you
a song that was backmasted that talked about that.
It was Another One Bites the Dust, and when you played it backwards, it said, smoke marijuana.
I don't know.
Smoke
I never
marijuana.
listened to Queen.
That's what it said. So, you are a
I only listen to
liar.
them in backwards.
No. We used to go to youth group, growing up in the 80s and stuff, and they would have these things where about music and how evil it was and all this different stuff. And not going into that right now, but what happens when you play a country music song backwards?
I have no idea.
Well, first thing that happens is your wife comes home, your dog comes back to life, you get your job back, and you get out of prison.
And you stop drinking.
You stop drinking. Stupid jokes. Stupid jokes.
But now you're going in that direction. We're going to be talking about music today, which I really love to talk about because it's such a big part of my life. And I know, Avery, it's a big part of your life also. And I know with Wade, too, it's a big part of his life.
Oh, yeah.
I enjoy music.
I would say, and I don't mean this in a bad thing, music is something that can consume your life. And a lot of people think of that as a negative, but I don't think it is because it adds so much to your life because it adds a dynamic that's important.
That's a lot to your life. When Wade and I were coming up, we're come up in a strict type situation musically to where I remember my dad used to have annual cassette tape burnings of mine because
They just ended up
because
being
I
breakings eventually.
I remember I had like triplicates of stuff that was not sung out of the Redback hymnal, and I would get in trouble for it. And I, me personally, I think all genres of music have a lot of good in them. And they're, church music is a good genre. Worship music and praise music is good genre when you're worshiping and you're praising the Lord, and I think that's important. If in the church, but some songs may not be spiritual, but some songs that aren't spiritual songs inspire me. Some songs motivate me. Some excite me. Sort of like the song "All I Do Is Win, 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 No Matter What." You know what I'm trying to say?
Got music
That's a
for
The
secular song, but you
T-Pain
know what?
song.
is that
There's
T-Pain?
excitement about that song. When my football team comes out to that song, or our football team, there's an excitement that happens in that, and it motivates me. How about the song "We Riding Around, We Getting It, We Want It, We Spend It"? You know what I'm talking about? That.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
You don't know what you know the song there? Well, let me help you out then.
I
Eye
know it.
of the tiger is the thrill
Oh,
of
I know
the
that
fight.
Rocky. Damn, damn.
That was who's Survivor
Yeah, I was
in that
surviving.
one. But I'm saying I said that to say that there is good music in a lot of different genres that are
Oh
out
yeah,
there, and I don't think we should pigeonhole ourselves in that because I mean, I, what's your thought on that? I mean, do you think just you should if you're a
I think you
country
need to
music
be
person you should
careful
listen
with
to anything else?
anything musically. Um, and let me just back up for a second. One of the reasons we're going into this is Tate and I talked about it, and a personal frustration of mine. This is one of the reasons why we wanted to bring on Avery. Is for instance, the Super Bowl was last Sunday. Horrible game. I wanted both teams to lose, but I was glad Kansas City lose just because of the way everything fell for them this week. But that's neither here nor there because my team wasn't in it. Sorry,
Oh,
Dad, because my dad's a Kansas City fan.
oh my goodness.
Does
But
Grandpa watch this?
Tate, what
Yeah,
is up? Are you
he's going to be cast out of the will now. It's okay.
I'll
We'll
take
take.
his.
Well, you take his
you ain't
part.
getting much? But it's interesting that when and I see it every year. And first of all, let me say this real quick. Little note here. I'm going to offend some people with what I'm about to say. Okay.
Do it.
Um, I get so frustrated. I'm a born again Christian and I love God. But when I watch football, I'm watching football to watch football. And then when the halftime show comes on, every year, all these Christians start raving about how it's demonic or it's this. And this year, they didn't understand what was being said and blah, 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 blah. And then I see other people, and please, if this is you that said this and you may have been joking, it makes you look like an idiot. Why don't they put Bill Gaither on at the halftime? Honestly, because they want something good.
Yeah, they
And I'm
want
not saying
something
he's
that's
not
going
good,
to
but there's a
appeal
difference.
to.
But say that, Tate.
Well, they're into marketing and they want something that's going to appeal to a mass audience. Am I
It's a
correct
it's
by
a
that, Avery?
business, and
Right.
Bill Gaither is not gonna uplift your ratings. Kendrick
Hmm.
Lamar, after Kendrick Lamar performed at the halftime show, ratings dropped like 25% because some people only watched up to halftime to see him diss Drake and what type of appearances he was going to have during his performance, which were huge. And that's what
Interesting.
happened.
That's important to talk about, Avery, because a lot of people don't understand that that was the first diss track ever to be sung at a halftime.
Yeah,
There was
that
so
too. I
much
mean,
in that
wait,
episode. So much,
you,
or
I
in
mean,
that halftime.
we
Go
can
ahead,
get
Avery.
down to it, but y'all were old enough when Tupac and Biggie were beefing, and whenever the next song came out and you heard it on the radio or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, it was a moment. Drake and Kendrick Lamar's rap beef was a 3 day spiel of them going back and forth, and it was like hip hop history. And then
Right.
he ca- he called Drake a pedophile in the songs and exposed him for being a bad father, uh,
A
texting,
stalker.
grooming minors, stalking Serena Williams, which is why she was dancing at the show. Um, Drake sued him. That's why he said at the beginning of the song, "I want to play my favorite song by now, but I can't because they'll sue." Drake sued
Hmm.
him, accusing his label of doing fake streams.
Hmm.
Um, And then he played "Not Like Us" at the end, and he basically calls Drake a pedophile in the song
Hmm.
for like
He also
grooming
did
minors.
Humble and DNA, right?
Yeah, he did Humble DNA. He did like 4 or 5 songs off the new record that he won 5 Grammys from. So he beefed with Drake in like October, September, kept dancing on his grave as "Not Like Us" got 1 billion streams worldwide.
Right.
Drake
Hmm.
sues him. He laughs even harder, announces a tour with the lady SZA, who performed at the Super Bowl with him.
Okay.
Wins
Right.
5 Grammys a week before the Super Bowl. Then plays at the Super Bowl, 150 million viewers worldwide, and
He
calls him a
actually
pedophile.
surpassed the highest half bowl halftime show ever, which was Michael Jackson.
Yeah, and then calls him a pedophile in front of the whole world.
Yeah.
You know,
So don't
something
beef with Kendrick Lamar if you're a rapper. He will
yeah,
find your deepest, darkest secrets and air them out.
something that happened 2 years ago in a halftime show when Snoop Dogg was come on stage and him and 50 Cent and
Eminem,
And
Kendrick
yeah,
Lamar played that one too.
Dr. Dre.
yeah, that's true. Well, Snoop
Right.
Dogg
Kendrick
comes
was
up
in
and
that. I forgot about that.
He's wearing the Crip colors, and Snoop
Yeah.
Dogg starts doing the Crip walk. And a lot of people had a lot to say about that. Well, this Super Bowl 2 years later, Serena Williams, which actually happened to be Drake's old girlfriend, the tennis player, she does a
I didn't know
Crip
Drake
walk, and
dated
nobody
her. I
talks.
thought it was just he stalked her.
Yeah,
He did for a
nobody
little bit and then wouldn't let it go. And like
nobody
shouts her
talks
out in
about that.
songs all the time.
Nobody talks about that. It was bad 2 years ago to Crip walk on TV, but now it's okay to Crip walk on TV.
Well, she
I
did it
think
years ago
it's
at a tennis match or something too, and was
it
like,
was at the Olympics.
yeah, and it was like
Yeah.
And
she got thrown under the bus. I'm like,
well, that was part of why she was doing it at the Super Bowl was because of all the backlash she gets for anything she does.
right. And she's the greatest
People,
female tennis player in history. There's no doubt about that. So
there's, uh, I mean, I don't know if I can say this on your podcast, but
go
there's a
ahead.
tinge of hate she gets because she's African American.
Oh, that's a real thing.
And anything she
Hmm.
does is put under a microscope, especially
Right.
because of how successful she is, because people hate winners. It's the same
Hmm.
reason we were
That's
cheering
why I
against the
wanted Kansas
Chiefs.
City to lose.
Well, it's
Yeah.
the same reason why people get mad at Snoop Dogg because
Yeah.
the same reason.
Yeah. And like, yeah, it wasn't that acceptable, but now it's become a thing and almost like a meme where people are just like, it's a name of a dance, not really. But like, if you do that in the wrong neighborhood, you getting lit up. Like, you
You know,
can't just, it's gang affiliation stuff.
next year we're gonna have Ice T up there doing something, and we're gonna have Suge Knight dancing.
Suge Knight's in jail.
And Suge's in jail.
Suge
And I
Knight's
don't
in
think they'd
jail
ever have Ice
forever.
T just because Ice T had songs about cop killers shooting cops. So
That's true. That's
I don't know. I liked seeing Kendrick as soon as he played the diss track, just smiling at the camera like a evil villain, just like
there was a
it was
couple things
amazing to
about
just
that
like make a
that I
face.
wanted to bring out that just and I was I found interesting. I'm sitting there watching it, and there's people around, and some of those who watch the show, and this is nothing against them, and I've seen it online, and there was things that came up like, well, there's nothing but black people on the stage. So what? Is what I wanted to say. What about? And then some people were like joking DEI stuff like that, and I'm like, give it a rest, let it go. And then the thing that really bothered me is like my generation were like, I can't understand it. Stupidest halftime show ever. Blah 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 blah. And
just
I'm
turn your
sitting there,
volume up.
yeah, and well, I'm sitting there looking at it, going, I wonder what it would have been like. Okay, I went to school in the 80s, graduated from high school in 1990, went to college. My favorite non Christian band growing up was who, Tate? You know, Avery, you know
Sugar
too.
Hill Gang.
No,
Def Leppard, he liked
Def
Def
Leppard.
Leppard.
I
Oh,
love Def
That's
Leppard.
right. Yeah.
Now they never did, as far as I know, they never did a halftime show. But the interesting thing, had they done that, the generation of my parents would have listened to it and gone, "What's going on? What's being said? I don't understand this." Blah 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 blah. And I think what we're seeing is a combination of two things. Number one, what I'm seeing is people that are Christians are watching the Super Bowl halftime show, wanting it to be Christian music, and I'm like, it's not gonna be ever. It's you know what I'm.
The closest you'll get is if they ever get a country singer.
Well, they did have a Christian singer do a.
Lauren Daigle.
Yeah, she did, and she did a good job.
Yeah, she did.
What did she? I'm trying to remember. Was it America the Beautiful? And it was kind of a jazz
Yeah.
ballad. It was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah, it was
different.
awesome.
But they're wanting to watch the Super Bowl, which is entertainment, and then make it anointed church music, and
Well, the thing,
it don't make sense to me.
Go ahead, Avery.
Go
it's
ahead, Will.
never going to be a Christian event. It's a sports event. And like what we said earlier, like it's about ratings. So they're going to get someone popular and accessible. And most people know Kendrick Lamar. You know,
Right.
I'd say the general consensus, even if you haven't listened to him, you know who he is. Um, but I feel like Christians have this idea that the entire world is just supposed to conform to their feelings and their beliefs when the whole point of Christianity is you're supposed to be the light,
Go ahead,
not
preach, boy.
not Kendrick Lamar.
Come on.
You know what I
So
mean? Like
go
he's a
ahead.
light in the African American community and the transgressions that that community goes through, and that's what that whole performance was. Partially diss, mostly silent protest, especially with and however you feel about Donald Trump, mostly towards Donald Trump and the
Right.
American government and the unfair situation that people deal with. And I'm not saying black or white. I'm just saying they were all black. He's proudly black. Uncle Sam being Samuel Jackson was intentional because, I mean, think about it. Samuel Jackson is a propaganda, not Samuel Jackson. Uncle Sam's a propaganda tool for a
Nice.
reason.
Right.
So they made him a black caricature, and Samuel Jackson's a phenomenal actor and played that perfectly. And was like, I mean, you heard him say, "Stop playing that ghetto music." You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It was
I,
all intentional, and it was all art, and it's all subjective. And Christian or not, just you're not gonna
that
like
actually,
everything you hear.
Well,
someone had actually said to me that some of that had undertones of like Samuel Jackson being the, and I don't want to use their term because I don't particularly like the word, but the black person that is speaking for the white people to keep the black people in control, and it's kind of a play was in that. You know, what I'm talking like a show. You know, what I'm talking. He didn't mean it, but
Yeah, I
it was
guess
it
so.
was
Well, it was
like an
theater.
Uncle Tom. Like an Uncle Tom is the phrase that comes
yeah,
to mind.
it was theater.
Yes, that was.
It
Yeah,
was
you're
all
right.
thought out. I mean, it was really thought out with what they were going to do. Just like the Olympics this past summer, the Olympics, the music and the genre and everything was going on the Olympics wise was very thought out too.
Yeah.
And weird.
So
The one in the Olympics
Well,
was
I
but
heard.
weird.
I all I saw on Facebook was that it was satanic ritual when it was just French culture being praised, and it's just like not everything you don't understand is evil. Like that's my
but
biggest pet
that's
peeve.
a
Like
lot
there's
of
art
people do that.
if you do it's the boy who cried wolf. Whenever something actually evil happened, everyone's gonna be so,
Yeah.
you
Hmm.
know,
You
turned
know,
off
you
to like, okay, whatever, you're crazy because you think a heavy metal band that's French celebrating their country's heritage of getting out of oppression is a
mhm.
satanic ritual when it's just heavy music with
Yeah,
flames. You know what I
it
mean?
is.
Go
Go
ahead,
ahead,
say.
Wade.
I was going to
Uh,
say one of the things that I found interesting about the halftime show. Did I understand a lot of what Kendrick Lamar said? No, because I've listened to rap, but his style of rap and like J. Cole, which you like, Avery, they're more
Yeah.
like lyrical poets that are telling stories. It's not like rap when you and I grew
It's
up with
not
Run
trap music
DMC.
or club music.
Yeah, it has a
It's
message.
very yeah.
And so a
it,
lot of
it,
people don't get it. But the interesting thing that I found is my generation, your generation, take for the most part, and the people that I knew that watched it, just take Christians out of it, they didn't get it. But Avery, your age, and the people that grew up with it loved it.
I grew up on his album. The album that he blew up on came out when I was in high school. I have
Right.
it on vinyl in my living room. I have all his albums on vinyl except for the new one.
Right. I
Like
mean, Kendrick, you
he's won a
said to me,
Pulitzer Prize. He won a Pulitzer Prize for
serious,
can I the album To Pimp a Butterfly.
he won a Pulitzer
did he
Prize.
really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, for the album.
Wow,
Yeah.
really?
It
Okay.
wasn't a music award. It was like a peace award.
Hmm.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, dude. He is like the best. He's the best.
No, it's Eminem.
He's equivalent
I like Eminem.
to
I'm just
I'm
a
saying.
joking. I'm
modern
messing with you.
he's
Go ahead, say.
equivalent to a modern day Bob Marley when Bob
Yeah.
Marley was going against the governmental system back in his
I could
period
see
of
that.
time when he was back there doing the sun is shining or is this love, when Bob Marley was doing his thing, very similar. And a lot of people complained about that too because they didn't understand what Bob Marley was saying.
And the one thing about Kendrick and the thing Drake was the whole beef was he was like calling him corny. because he's got a wife, he's got 2 kids, he doesn't cheat, he doesn't go out, and he's like
He lives modest
stereotypically
too.
rappers are like tatted up, chained out, and he's just like 5'5" family man who loves rapping, is obsessed with poetry, obsessed with the black man's plight, and being the voice for the people who can't speak. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And that's not popular in rap culture, and that's why not the people who didn't understand it, but the people who want trap music, club music also were hating on it
Hmm.
Yeah.
because they were like, I don't want to hear this guy speak about being a family man, and I just want to hear the diss track. You know what I mean?
Huh.
Yeah.
That's just.
But
I actually
He
did a
go he
little.
goes
Go ahead.
against the norm for what's popular in hip hop.
But yet he's popular because he goes against that.
what were you gonna
It's
say, Wade?
double-edged sword.
Yeah. I was going to say it was interesting because I've known the name Kendrick Lamar and that type of thing, and I've seen him on different things, and he's incredibly talented. But one of the things that really stuck out to me is after this, in preparation for this, and I knew that we were going to be talking about it. I did a little research. He lives in Los Angeles. He drives his bike, and when I say his bike, pedal bike, not
Yeah, so did
car.
J. Cole.
I mean, without saying it. How do you put it? He comes
He's
across
humble.
as very humble.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has a song about it. It's called
Yeah.
Humble.
There's a song. Yeah, I was gonna say there was a song he wrote. He actually
Can
performed
you
it.
write a song
Yeah,
saying you're humble and be humble?
it's a concept album.
Okay,
Yeah.
it just okay. But it just
And
the more he's a
wasn't he
likable
also?
guy.
Wasn't he when he was doing the song "Humble"? Wasn't that supposed to go with that? Uh,
DNA.
yeah.
Yeah, they're back to back
Hmm.
on the record.
That's what I thought.
Hmm. So
Yeah. I
here's
don't
my
know. He's polarizing. I could go on about him. I'm enamored by his success and
so
the
Avery
type
in
of person
particular.
he is.
Question for you, okay?
Uh-huh.
As a person raised in church,
Oh, don't let me embarrass you in front of your friends.
you're good. But as a person raised in church, I want your straight up opinion,
Mm.
um, PG version
I'm not. Yeah, I got it.
of it how it appears from somebody that, let's say, is your friends, some of your roommates don't go to church, when they see people that are Christians that
Oh,
harp
I
on
mean,
something like the Super
dude.
Bowl and demean it. And how does that?
Oh, I mean, you just see a million Southern Pentecostals posting, I didn't get it. And you see the same stuff they post
Do I hear
politically
Vanessa
or
laughing in the
just,
background?
no, that was Chris.
Okay.
You know how they feel politically and socially, and I'm not here to call anybody anything, but you just assume, oh, any anybody who like them, they would just be like, oh, so they're just racist Christians. You know what I mean? You don't get it, you don't want to get it. You're just
Right.
gonna dunk on it on Facebook to your echo chamber of people who all think the same as you.
And
You
so
know
it
what I
comes,
mean?
even though they might
And
not be
it,
racist, it comes across as racist.
yeah. I mean, that's just how it comes off. You're like, okay, so you're a super crazy racist Southerner, but you mask it with your Christianity. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
That's
So it
that's how
does more
people would think
damage
of it.
than good when we should just keep our mouth shut.
I mean, art's subjective. You can say you didn't like it, but you don't gotta be like, I didn't understand it because it was rap music, because that just means, okay, I don't like black music.
Well, see, my problem with that is 2 years ago, some of those same Christians that I know, not all, but some of them were so excited that it was Dre, Snoop,
But it's
and
a
them.
that's the thing, is it's a mixture of
Yeah.
racism and only music that was good was when I was a teenager.
Yeah. Yep.
And nostalgia blinds a lot of folks. And I'm not going to say it's actual racism for everybody. And I don't want anyone who listens to this to be like, I'm calling all Pentecostal Southern Christians racist or whatever because
You're not.
they didn't get what he was saying. It's just that's how it appears, especially when you're typing it in all caps, you know? Like, this
Yeah, like you're
sucked. I
yelling.
hated it. Blah, blah, blah. I didn't get it. But you didn't give it a
Yeah.
chance. But also,
I
like,
think.
Dre and 50 perform, and you're like 21 years old when it comes out, and you're like, I'm a Christian. I was a Christian then, but this was a hit, and I love this song. You know what I mean?
To me, that's hypocritical.
It is.
Am I wrong, Tate?
No, I agree with what Avery's saying, and I think I think sometimes we Christians are too quick to talk when what we need to do is shut our mouths and listen. Listen and ask constructive questions, opposed to saying something. So many times we come out and we say something ignorant, and we say something that sounds terrible, and it has not been thought through. And it sounds like a lot of times people are doing a knee jerk reaction opposed to thinking through and saying, you know what, that may not be my style of song, but I did catch some glimpse of some things in there that I did enjoy. And there may be something in there that I didn't like, but you know what? I can find something I did like. You know what? I like that lowercase a until I figured out what it was all about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You,
But
You know, it's
like,
funny you say
I'm
that.
just
The very
using
first
that
thing
as
that
an example. Go
see,
ahead,
I
Will.
didn't understand a lot of what Lamar said, but Kendrick Lamar said, but the first thing that I noticed when the thing started, I was like, oh wow, everybody's completely dressed, and there's nothing that can be considered to be satanic. You know what I'm saying?
You know what's
Yeah,
you
I
know
was
what
like,
I think's amazing? Let me tell you what I think's amazing is I knew most of the words, and I've got 2 of those songs on my playlist.
you're
And
going to hell.
I'm one of those
well, he's in
guys
Florida.
above 50. You
I'm
know what I'm
joking.
saying?
I'm joking.
I know you are. But what I'm saying is I grab a lot of stuff from a lot of genres. I've got, I got what Pharrell when he did the song Happy. I got that song on a playlist.
That's a
Uh, Panic
good
at
song.
the Disco. I've got
Oh
them
yeah?
where they
What
did
song?
High Hopes.
Ugh.
Come on now,
I
you know
hate
that's a
that
good
song.
song.
I like I
Uh,
Write Sins, Not
Lose
Tragedies.
Yourself by Eminem. Great song, unbelievable
Yeah.
song. But you know what I'm saying? And I also have John P. Key and the New Life Community Choir, and I also have
Oh yeah, let's go. Sorry,
a
you got
bunch
me
of
there.
different gospel. I got Clint Brown on there, and I've got Gary Oliver, and I've got a bunch of
I got
gospel
Kirk
artists.
Franklin on our work playlist.
I got Kurt Franklin, and right after Kurt Franklin, I have Van Halen Jump.
Isn't that a Pentecostal song?
Jump.
Jump.
But what I'm saying is
It's a
there's a
joke.
lot of songs that are good songs that may not be sung by Christian artists. But the problem that a lot of Christians do have is there may be a good song on the album, but then there may be 3 songs that may not be good songs, that may have
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
messages that would not be what I would want to portray as a Christian, and I would not want my children portraying.
Good. So I'm going to ask a
Right.
question, and I have my opinion on this, but I'm going to ask you guys a question. So when it comes to music, before I ask the question, let me preface it back up a step. As a human being, would you not say that God made us so that we could enjoy life? Yes or no?
Oh, you're leading us.
I don't
Yes,
know. It
right?
depends what country you're born in.
This is
But
leading
God,
question.
but God's
But
plan
yes,
ultimately
Yeah.
was yes for us to enjoy life.
Yeah.
yes.
I'm
So
sure.
is
Yeah.
entertainment, as long as it's not filthy, dirty, nasty, is entertainment not something that we should enjoy?
No, it should be something we enjoy.
Okay. So my question is my question is there's songs that you would sing that are entertainment that are not Christian, that there's nothing wrong with them. And then there's some that are wrong. In the same realm, there's some music that's labeled Christian that some Christians will not listen to. Example, Avery, Fit for a King.
Creed.
Creed. Well, Creed themselves said they weren't Christian. They said they were religious, and there's a difference.
They're basically Christian.
Yeah. With arms wide
How about
open.
PID?
Oh yeah, but yeah, Fit for a King because their members are Christian, but they're not a Christian band.
Right. But some of their songs are very, very,
Are
and some of their
incredibly
songs,
Christian.
yeah. But then there's other songs that are just
I mean, you
not.
met them.
Yeah, met them, prayed with them.
Yeah.
But some of the people that I know would listen to that and go, "Well, that's of the devil." The guy's going, you know.
Well, how about the Bee Gees, Staying Alive?
Well, they're all dead.
Night fever, night fever.
I think there's one guy still alive.
Staying Alive.
But the point is this right here is that in music, music's meant to be enjoyed, and there's an entertainment value to it. And I say that to say this. Tate and Avery both want you to comment on this and see what you think. I want your opinion on this. So when it comes to music, in particular Christian music, there's anointed Christian music that you would sing in church, right? But then there's also music that is Christian music that you might not put in church, but there's still nothing wrong with it as long as it's not sinful, right?
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
Yeah.
No,
I mean, you're
I
not
agree
going
with
to
that.
play KB at the altar call.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
I did play to hell
yeah.
with the devil once in church at the church I pastor right now in
Yeah.
the conclusion
You're
of the
talking about
service.
Stripe.
Striper?
Yeah, it was
With
Striper and
Striper, yeah.
Lecrae. Lecrae did a remix of it with Striper
Mm-hmm.
about a year and a half
Yeah.
ago. It was phenomenal, Tate.
You did that as an altar call?
It was in the no, not altar call, dismissing service, and had everybody walking out.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
I
a
was like,
crazy
whoa, that's a
that's a
crazy altar
crazy
call.
altar call.
Yeah.
I
So
mean, I agree with you. I think, yeah, there's certain artists, Christian artists, like you would not play in church, but like if that's what you need to listen to, that's not always worship music. Yeah, play it in the car.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Tate, what
Well,
do
I
you
I
think?
don't
know.
know.
I mean, I totally agree with that. I think I think you can play worship music anytime you want to, and you can play praise music anytime you want to, but it ain't. I don't want to say appropriate, but if I'm coaching a football team and my high school team is getting ready to walk out. Avery just fell over.
You there,
Is
son?
getting ready to walk out,
Sorry, I
you
was
know, of the
fixing it.
tunnel onto the football team onto the football field. I'm probably not going to play something
Slow,
from
Amazing
a
Grace.
Yeah,
quartet.
let's
I'm
watch
probably not
out
going to
to
do a
Amazing
quartet
Grace.
song. I'm probably going to do something by Lecrae, or I'm going to do something that's going to be more upbeat, or I might do something,
Do KB,
by
Worship in a
yeah,
Mosh Pit.
that's what I'm saying.
You ever heard that song? He's got a song called Worship in a Mosh Pit.
I have not heard that song.
It's pretty awesome. Heard him do it a week ago at a winter game.
Very cool.
Yeah,
But you see, I think it's pretty important. So
No, I agree. I mean, I just think people need to be more open to things and like what Tay was saying, don't dunk on it and you don't even really have to understand it, but like one of my friends was like, I don't like rap music, but I was incredibly impressed by his breath control and how much he was moving and still saying every word and censoring himself at the same time.
was it you that
He,
sent me
he
the thing today, Avery, that he like moved 261 yards in his
yeah,
performance more than
they
the whole
tracked
Kansas City
his
Chiefs?
someone yeah, someone tracked his movement. He performed and moved more yards than the Chiefs did on offense the whole game
Yeah,
in 15 minutes.
yeah,
that's
it's
crazy.
interesting. So
And he's only 5'3", so I know he was tired.
so
Yeah,
let me move this forward. We've talked about this, and there's going to be people that don't like it, and they're going to have their opinion, and that's fine. I'm going to
Saying we've
make
been
my statement.
controversial.
I'm going to make my statement, which might make some people upset. And with that said, I'm willing to live with that. And these are people that I care about. There's other people that I know that are Church of God ministers that might watch the show, and some people from my church.
Question.
Mm, yes, sir.
Before you ask your question, how many people watch this?
I know when I was at prayer conference last week, I had 15 to 20 come up and said that they watched the first one. They're getting ready to watch the second one.
Mm.
I think we have anywhere from about 100 to 200 that are watching.
You got more than mine.
So, sorry.
Oh, what? Well, let's do a shout out to yours. What is
No,
yours?
This
no,
is I can't deal with this podcast. It's by no means Christian. It's on
I'm not the
Is
Spotify.
it?
host. I'm
It's
not the
sport.
host.
It's sports, isn't it?
It's
Well,
sports.
yeah, it's
Sports,
sports,
and
but
it's fun. But don't go
it's
on
really funny.
expecting perspective other than having fun and talking about sports from guys that are in their
Mm-hmm.
20s. So, with that said, here was my question.
Hmm.
Great day. What was I saying? See, when you get old and
I'm
interrupt the
sorry.
guy,
Yeah,
when you get old and
yeah.
interrupt the guy. Oh, here was what I was going to say.
It's ADD.
When it comes to music and it's not a church setting and it doesn't play the music that you like, don't be a modern day Pharisee. Jesus
Explain
always had to
yourself.
correct the Pharisees because they wanted everybody to act like them, like they were so religious. And we got to understand that, yes, we're Christians, but we still live in this world, and you don't have to wear your Christianity on a sleeve. You wear it on your heart.
Yeah, it's just gonna turn anybody you want to reach off if you just immediately dunk on something they like.
Yeah. And they're never going to give it a shot. With that said, I do think music is incredibly important. And I'm going to go into that here in a minute. But Tate, why would you say music is so important?
I think I say it's important because I know it's been part of my life my whole life. I mean, I just from a time being a kid, I can tell you that music helped me a lot when I was a kid because I had a hard time focusing when I was a kid. And what music did was made it to where I could do something that made me focus. I could listen to music, I could play music, I could sing music, I could
Was that
write
because of
music.
the ADD?
Probably. I couldn't dance. I
I
still to
can
this day I
dance.
can't dance
I could
worth
dance.
beans. Wait, well I make it look like I can dance because I can move my hands, but that's about it. But music has been a big part of my life. I was a music pastor for over 25 years, running music programs and
You've trained a bunch of
doing
guys that
that,
are doing it still.
and it was fun. And I've been involved in recordings. Used to have a recording studio. Used to be very involved in music. And the one thing I love about music is the 8 notes in music. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do
Do
are
a
8
deer,
notes. And
a
there's different
feeder.
key signatures you can do those notes in.
Mm-hmm.
And I can listen to Bella Fleck and the Flecktones. Yeah, look that
Let's
up. Bella
go,
Fleck and the
dude. That is
Flecktones.
awesome jazz band.
Yeah,
The
they're a great jazz
Flecktones.
band.
Bella
And
Fleck and the Flecktones.
they do some tremendous jazz music. But the thing about it, uh, they don't proclaim to be a gospel group, but you would know because they only play music. And I've had issues in the past because people would down a musical band because of music. And I'm like, it's one of these 8 notes being played there in a key signature, and you don't like it. Where music gets offensive or tasteful and goes different directions is when you add lyrics to it. Lyrics change music.
Yeah.
I could write a song and I could have it in country music. I could have it in gospel music. I could have it in rap music. I can have it in reggae music. I could have it, in all different types of genres. And I could write a song and be the same key signatures. But once you add the words to it, that's what changes the song.
Mm.
And words matter. Words make a big difference. Words can uplift. Words can tear down. And I think a lot of times, because a song doesn't fit our narrative, we tend to tear it down like a lot of people tore down the Super Bowl. And I don't think it needed to be tore down. It may not have been my cup of tea, or it might have been my cup of tea. But you know what? If I truly enjoy music and look at it as a part of life, you gotta roll with it.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
I say,
agree. Well, didn't Jesus say to turn the other cheek?
That was when you're getting punched.
Yeah, well, if you're getting punched by music, then turn the other cheek and be quiet.
It's hitting hard.
You know what I mean?
I
If
do.
those people felt like they were getting bombarded philosophically, then turn your other cheek.
but
You know,
something that does happen also. I'm sorry, Wade, but a lot of times as people get older, there's a thing called being set in your ways,
Yeah,
yeah,
and
hey, you know
people
about
get
that.
set in their ways. And
go to you.
I don't like Harry Belafonte. I don't care for his music. I don't care for Don Ho's music from
Don
Blue Mountain.
Ho!
I don't care for that
Sorry.
style.
That's
I'm not.
something I've done
I'm
our
not.
whole life.
I don't care for the Rat Pack music because I mean that
No,
was all stuff way ahead of me, and it wasn't my style.
I love
But
the
you know
Rat
what?
Pack.
I got a respect for it. I got a
Really?
respect for Sammy Davis Jr. But I'm not. It's not my style. But as
Fly me
people
out
get
to the
older,
moon.
you know, they get set in their ways, and they verbally say stuff a lot of times because they're stuck.
You
Yep.
know what else is crazy?
What's that?
Go ahead.
They could just turn the channel.
It's funny you was going to say that. Years ago, um, when life was hard and all, and I honestly didn't have TV at home. There was just 3, 4
How many
channels, and
years?
you were little. It was actually the Super
Trailer?
Bowl. It was the first Super Bowl the Panthers ran when they played the Patriots, and the Patriots won.
Are we about to talk about Justin Timberlake?
Yeah, it was that Super Bowl. Okay, I went
That's the
over
one
to.
where I begged you to come to mom's.
Yeah, but
Oh,
I
was
couldn't
that?
because your mother and I were separated, going through divorce at the time, and so my pastor Roy Lee Tucker invited me over to his house after church. I'd preached that night. There was just a standing thing at the praising place that it was a joke every year, and I ended up preaching every year on the Super Bowl. And so after church, I dropped off Avery and Evan, and I went to Pastor Tucker's house, and then the halftime show started. I was honestly excited about it because I had every Janet Jackson album ever growing up. Even had the most recent one up until I love Janet Jackson's music growing up. Black Cat,
Interesting.
all those, yeah.
Black Cat.
Yeah.
That was one of her songs.
Yep. Yeah. But
He was a
sorry, I
big
got
fan of the Catwoman movie.
and who was me? No, I wasn't. But shut up, Avery.
He loves Holly Berry.
So well, she is very pretty. Brooklyn, I love you. Happy Valentine's Day. But with that said, it's sitting there playing and I'm enjoying it. And Pastor Tucker stands up and he goes, "You know what? This just isn't my cup of tea. I'm going to turn this." And he turned it. He goes, "We'll go back when it starts back up." And he turned it 15 seconds before the Justin Timberlake, Janet Jackson thing. So this day, praise God, I never seen that.
That would have been an awkward room to be in, I think, with a bunch of Christian people.
No, it was just Pastor and Janice and his two sons because they were still at home and not married. They were younger.
Yeah, they were teenagers.
And me watching the game. And we just, I don't even think they were teenagers because it was.
They had to been like 11 years old. It was
11,
like
12, 13.
2004.
They were young. Yeah. Yeah.
'Cause I was like 6 or 8.
And so they turned it. And here's the thing that he never said whether he was for halftime shows, against halftime shows. It was just not my cup of tea. I'll turn it and then I'll go back to the game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he did. And I think it's that simple for us to do that versus say, well, I'm a Christian and I'm going to sit here and protest by watching the whole thing.
Well, everyone feels like they got to add their 2 cents so that everyone knows where they stand, or else they don't feel validated in their beliefs.
Yeah, my
And that's
thing
what
is
social
keep your
media
two
has done
cents
to
and have
us.
more money.
Yeah, but that's just what social media has done to everybody.
That's
Is
true.
you got to throw your 2 cents out, let everyone know how you stand. And it's like I said earlier, it's an endless echo chamber of validation and arguing.
So,
we're harping a little bit on the Christian, but
Well, I
I
didn't mean
think
to. I'm sorry.
I think it goes. No, it's this.
I
Not
did probably more than you.
Christians. People that love country music didn't like that.
Yeah.
They didn't like the majority. I can't speak for everybody, but the majority of people that are hardcore country folk, they didn't get that. People that may have been jazz fusion didn't get that. And people that are heavy into certain genres that don't cross a lot of genres get stuck in
Yeah.
their genre.
Trust me. I know.
They'd be like, "Man, I wish the Zach Brown band was up there playing." You know what I'm saying? You know that they'd be like, "I wish Zach Brown was up there," or
who's Zach
maybe,
Brown?
huh?
You know Chicken Fry?
The Zach
Nah.
Brown band.
You know I
It's a
like my
country group.
chicken fry.
They're like
Cold
Rascal
beer
Flatts. You
on
know
a
who Rascal
Friday
Flatts
night.
is?
Oh, yeah.
You know,
That's
That's
Zach
Zach
Brown.
Brown
they're
band.
that kind of genre of country. Yeah, but
They're
I'm
like
just
Kenny
saying.
Chesney beach wave country.
I thought
But
that was the
there's
Applebee's
another
song.
big beef going on in country music also because Beyonce won
Rap out or country
female
album.
country album of the year
I
for
don't get
country
that.
music, and a lot of country people were really upset
It
about
was a
that
country
because
album.
it's a country album, and a lot of country people were like, "But she's not a country person."
He's
But you
from
know what?
Houston, Texas.
She did a country album, and you know what?
Post Malone was a rapper and he made a country album.
Post
So
Malone's
is everybody
talented.
going to get mad
So is
because
Beyonce.
Oh, I'm not saying that wasn't against Beyonce. I'm just saying Post Malone's really
well,
talented.
people going to get mad now because Jelly Roll just did a gospel song?
Actually, there are some, but I think it's really
I-
interesting if you see the interviews with him and Brandon Lake.
Pe- People were mad at Kirk Franklin for doing songs with Kanye West.
Gets the message out there.
I mean, do you want them to not try and be a light in those people's lives? I mean, Kanye is severely mentally ill, so he needs all the help he can get.
I mean, the interesting thing is it sounds like the Pharisees that were mad that Jesus went to the publican's house.
Yeah, the Republicans' house.
Publican, tax collector. They were
Publican.
called publican tax
I thought you said the Republicans' house. I was like,
No,
whoa.
Republican.
He went there
they go
too.
back that far.
He's visiting with Donald Trump right now. Hallelujah. No, but
Oh, no.
on another note, let me because time is we've been going about 45 minutes. I want to go into something here real quick, maybe 5-10 more minutes, and then we'll wrap this thing up. So one of the things that I wanted to bring out, again, not necessarily a Christian podcast. I know we talk about Christian things, but I think it's important to understand one of the reasons why music is so important. Tate, I brought this up with you earlier this week, and a lot of people don't know this. Music is the only thing that was created in heaven that was loosed on earth. Everything else that is on earth was created on earth. Music was loosed in heaven and then loosed, and it was created in heaven and then came to earth. And that's one of the reasons why music has the pull and the power and everything that it does. It's one of the reasons why so many people are so
Feel
passionate
the way
about
they
it.
do. Yeah.
and they're passionate about it because, I mean, let's be honest. You can listen to a song and be going through a hard time, but that song speak to you, bring tears to your eyes, and bring a healing. And I'm not even talking about a Christian song.
Uh, I mean, music got me through when you were in the hospital. I
Yeah. I
would not
mean,
have got through without some songs, you know?
when I started my recovery process and the working out, there was no way that I could go to the gym and listen to something that was like, I'm trying to think of, and I like modern praise and worship and that type of music and stuff.
You
And
wanted something motivational.
I wanted something that would drive me. I
That's why
wanted
you like
something.
Fit for a King so
I
much.
wanted something like. I mean, they have a uh, the louder voice, the song, the louder voice. It's basically
Yeah.
talking about what voice are you going to listen to, the voice that makes you quit or the voice that makes you
Mm.
push on. And when I felt
Ah,
like quitting, that song would come on in the middle of my workout. Was it a Christian song? No, but it pushed me. Was it an evil song?
and
Not at
then
all.
and then you end with the Happy Goodman family.
No, sir.
He cried when, am I allowed to say this?
Go ahead.
Say
I,
what you're gonna say.
I took him to a show
April 1st,
Hmm.
to see them play.
22.
We we signed or I bought tickets like months in advance, and it's like a standing room, 800 cap room in Greensboro, and apparently Fit for a King on every date of that tour. Um, we're selecting two VIP winners, and we won VIP
Mm-hmm.
just randomly, and we had to get
Hmm.
there an hour and a half earlier. They did an acoustic set. We met them. They took pictures with us, and then they like prayed with Dad because they Dad told them about how their music got him through his recovery.
And workout and
And
everything.
then
They had me pray with them.
and then we sat through two openers, and then Silent Planet, who is also a Christian
Yeah,
band,
dude, they were.
played. You would like Silent Planet a lot, Tate, because they don't conform to a lot of
I think
things.
I've heard them. You sent me a song of theirs.
Yeah,
It's
and
American metalcore. If
r-
people want to know what that is, it's
Hmm.
real.
Dad,
Oh, it's heavy.
Dad, Dad cried when they played the song that he was talking about. He cried a
That
little
one
bit,
and when
and
everything
when
means
everything means
nothing.
nothing, and then right after the show, the bass player jumped off the stage and found Dad to ask if
Mm-hmm.
he enjoyed the show.
Yep,
That's cool.
and gave me a hug.
And I don't know where I'm going with that. I just know
Hey, I got to tell you one thing that we forgot about the Kendrick Lamar. The most important thing about that whole performance, because I'm a child of the '80s. In the very beginning,
the
there
GNX.
was I saw the shadow of there was a man standing on a car, and as I'm looking at it, I'm like, that's a 1986 Grand National
That
GNX.
Yeah,
reminded
there's
me
only
of your money.
And I'm like, why is there a GNX on the stage, and why is there somebody standing on the hood? And then I'm like, dude, that's a Grand National. And I was freaking out because it was a Grand National, because 1986 Grand National, that's my car. That's
You
there's
had an
only like
87, didn't you? You had an
Mhm.
87 Monte Carlo, or was
I
it
had a Monte
83?
Carlo. I went for a Monte Carlo with the T-tops, but I wanted a Grand National, but
well,
I couldn't afford that.
that's that was like his dad's car, I believe.
Wow.
Well,
And
I think
there's
it
only
was
like
a fake
500 of them.
because I think it was a fake one because people
They
kept
kept
cutting
coming
them
out
out
of
of
it.
it. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I was like, it must just be a shell. But
Huh.
it blew my mind. I was like, oh
That's
man, this is a
Yeah,
Grand
that's when
National.
they were sitting there over at the side talking, the sports guys, and you could see him in the
Hmm.
background leaned over on the hood, get ready to go.
that's
But
that's his album cover is
okay,
Yeah.
him with the car.
that was an
The
ADD
f-
moment, folks, from
the f-
Tate Foster.
the first line of the first line of the album is all I ever wanted in my life was a black Grand National.
Well, that's because he came home from the hospital when he was a baby in one of those.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
See,
Little fun
interesting.
fact.
So
It's okay.
back to what I
Stick with
was
me.
saying about
I'll
music, and
keep you
Avery was
informed of
talking
all
about
the fresh music, the old man.
the old man. Back to what Avery was saying, music got me through. And there's times where music, and all that's cool. I don't mean to downplay. That's cool. All that's really cool. And I think one of the reasons that we don't understand that is that God created human beings. I'm not going to preach here, but God created human beings to fill a gap of worship. And music is one of the number one ways that we do that. And some of you might say, how? And all you got to do is if you study the Word of God, not preaching, but if you study the Word of God, the Bible talks about in Revelations 12, I believe it's
It's
12.
actually just Revelation. There's no S at the end.
That's true. Gotcha. Touche.
Mr. Preacher Man.
So Revelation, I want to say 12. It might be 4, but I can't remember. But it talks about how the red dragon, and if you understand who the red dragon is, that's talking about Satan. And it
That's
says,
China.
No, that's Satan.
I'm sorry.
We're gonna be. This will not be on TikTok. but but how that the red dragon swooped his tail and took 1/3 of the stars, and then as you read more of it, it talks about how that those were his stars. And if you understand types and shadows in the Bible, the red dragon is Satan, and the stars is a reference to the angels, and it calls him his angels. An interesting thing when it comes to worship, and in particular music and singing, you only find references to singing in the Bible a couple places. One is in the book of Job, and that's when the Bible says that the morning stars, which is a reference to angels, sang at the creation of the earth. God's asking Job, were you there when the morning stars sang? And a lot of people don't know this because the order that the Bible's put in, Job is actually the oldest book in the Bible. It's the oldest book written. A lot of people don't know that. And then you go all the way to the end of the Bible, and you go to the book of Revelation, and you find out where that the saints of God that are now in heaven and in the presence of God are leading the worship, and we're actually leading the angels. You don't find any other reference to angels singing in the Bible. And the reason for that is because when Satan, the red dragon, was kicked out and he swooped his tail and took 1/3 of the stars, that is 1/3 of the angels. And if you understand, there was 3 archangels. There was Michael, the archangel of war, Gabriel. Satan just showed up. But you have Michael, the archangel of war, Gabriel, who always brought words, and then Satan was the worship leader, or Lucifer. And when he got kicked out, he took the worshiping angels. And so what happened was God created us of our free will to worship God. And so one of the reasons that music is so vitally important is because it's ultimately, yes, it's entertainment and all that, and it's important, but at the root of it all, it should be giving God glory, because we're made to fill that gap. That is why it's important. That's also why the Bible says that God inhabits the praises of his people. And the word inhabits means he takes his throne and sits down in your presence when you worship him, because he doesn't have that. And if people say, well, what about the angels singing at the announcement? That was of Jesus's birth. All these things that we sing for Christmas and stuff, those were announcements. They weren't actual songs. There's only 2 references biblically of angels singing, and that's at the creation of the earth and then after we're leading them, because they're kicked out.
I heard the herald angels were singing though.
No.
The herald angels?
Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn. That's a song. If you read where it says that, it says, and the angels said, hark. It says, or there was a decree. It's an announcement. It's never a song. Those are not songs if you go back to the root words in Greek, Hebrew, Aramaic that the Bible was written in. They were announcements. Okay. That's one of the reasons why it is so vitally important for human beings to understand. Yes, you can have music. It can be entertaining, and you can enjoy it, and that's great. But at the root of it, music is ultimately something created in heaven, released on earth for us to give God glory. And so it can entertain you, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you got to be careful not to go too far the other way. That's why sometimes you and I get into, be careful who you're listening to, Avery. I'll say that stuff to you.
Yeah, well, doesn't the Bible also say, have no other idols before me? You can't let it consume you.
Explain what you mean with that.
I'm saying, if music's all you care about, you're replacing God with it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that applies to everything. So
that's just what I meant, because some people, that's all they live for.
Yeah. Yeah.
That it goes hand in hand with what you're saying is what I'm trying to.
I just wanted to make sure I understood. What do you think of that, Tate?
Those racks on racks on racks.
That's a good song.
Yeah, I don't have a clue.
I'm not going to say the song title on here. I'm going to be a polite young boy for your Church of God viewers.
Yeah. Well, Wade, it was good today. I hope everybody enjoyed coming on and checking out Catch This Bros. Avery, it was really good having you with us today, too.
Avery, everybody, give Avery a standing ovation.
It's not doing it. I was trying to get the heart. Thanks for the claps. I appreciate that.
But Wade,
it's all good.
Go ahead and sign us out. You got anything else to finish on?
Well, let me just say this. We'll be coming back here in just a little while, dropping our next podcast. Be the next one will be the 4th one. We'll figure out the topic. Avery, glad you came on today. So happy, son. Love you. I hope you have a good Valentine's Day. Vanessa's there. If she can hear me, happy Valentine's Day, Vanessa.
She can't hear you.
She can't hear you. Well, tell her we said that, and tell Chris and everybody there. And proud of you, son. Tate, good pod.
All right. Talk to
And
you
hope
later,
you all
bro.
catch this. Out.
Catch us later, bro.
Catch this, bro.
Got a drop. Catch this, folks. See you next time.